Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session of the Out of the Box Developer. This will be an AI special session, and here we will learn how to get empowered by AI. How do you become an AI powered developer? As we can see from the news and from the market movements, you need to be one of these developers if you want to be on the market. But first of all, let's start our awesome team of experts that are joining us today, starting with you, Pedro Cavalero. Hi, Pedro. How you doing?
Hey, hello, Igor. Hello, everybody. Hello. Yeah, it's really nice to be here. And this is a topic that we've been talking a lot here in the company and probably in the world, probably, right? But the idea of AI augmented developer, it's a different idea of AI engineers, a different idea of what we had as previous senior software engineer. So I think we have good stuff to talk here today.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward to learn a lot today, also to contribute a little grain on the subject, but it will be a great subject today. And following with you, Tila. How are you doing, Tila?
I'm fine. Thank you, Igor. And hi, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you are. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation. I'm sure it will be an awesome one because it's a very popular topic. And I think we have stuff for today to talk about and share experiences, of course.
Absolutely popular. I would say that's the word when we talk about AI. Most of all, popular and powerful as well. And following with you, Luis Real. How you doing, Luis?
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Many tools have emerged to help developers in recent days. So it's nice to have this topic here, and I'm very happy to talk about that.
That's great. That's great. AI is like a pair partner, but I believe we will go much deeper on today. So it will be awesome to see how much AI can help us. And next, with Tiago Bonfim, I heard that now you're the star of Brasilia, Tiago. Is that true?
Hello, John. I don't know if you can hear me well. Can you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, not really. I gave a talk on Social Brasilia. It was amazing. Many people. Great to be there, and also great to be here with you, learning more about this subject that it's very important for everyone, including developers. So yeah, glad to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to have you here too, Tiago. And directly from space, a man from the future. Long time no see you, Douglas. A pleasure to see you here and have you with us tonight and on afternoon, depending where you are.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Basically, good whatever part of the day it is for you. I hope you're having a great day. The This topic is near and dear to me. I mean, you can go back into the archives of this show and probably some of the first like coding, some of the first episodes where we walked through doing things in code were episodes where I'm like, hey, look, we can do some really cool things with AI and so now that we're over into this stage of things where we're not scared that AI is going to take our jobs completely away, but can actually help augment us as a reflection of ourselves and our abilities, uh, and then also be able to bring in its vast information stores to help us be able to do our jobs even faster. It's a magnifier, not a not something that takes away, but something that gives.
Absolutely. I will ever remember that previous session last year when Spring AI was released, and I did a presentation here about that, and you were with me on that as well, Douglas. That was great to see the first launch of Spring into the AI connection, on how much that has developed since back then. And as you mentioned, Douglas, this is here to empower us, and it will make you a better developer if you make a good usage of that for in your favor, of course. And following here, anyone wants to mention something? I do know that Pedro has something special to share with you to get started.
Yeah, sure.
No,
Um, I can begin here. So
great.
I'm testing some tools here, some basic tools with my students, and I have a simple one to present to you. So everyone is um, everyone knows Ollama to run models in your machine, right? So you can use these models to help you um, develop simple stuff. So you don't need to buy for tokens. Okay. So if you have Oleama, if you are able to run a local model, you can use it inside your IDE to help you. So this is just a simple example. I can share with you my screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I okay. So I have here Oleama running on my PC, and I have some models here. Okay. Just for this example, I'm using here the DeepSeek coder with 6.7 billion parameters. Okay, so
Oh,
DeepSeek coder, it's not the DeepSeek R1, the reasoning model. DeepSeek coder is a model that is trained with a lot, like 80% training only with code. The other 20% is trained with other stuff like architecture and other information about software development. So you have a lot of code involved here. And if you have this Ollama here with DeepSeek Coder and you have IntelliJ, you can use this tool here named CodeGPT, where you can use lots of models here. So as I said, you can use cloud providers and buy your tokens, or if you want to run some local models here, you can see the same models that I have in my Ollama here. So uh, DeepSeek Coder 6.7b is already selected, and I can use this for explain code, write code. I can use like I have this here cliente. It's just a simple entity with just a few attributes, and I can use this opened class here as a source, right? To add context here, so I can ask something like, can you create a REST controller for the client class? And the model will run here using DeepSeek Coder, and it
how,
uses your class to write some um, basic codes. Okay.
oh, how's the performance there for your machine? How do you see the performance running it locally? Because the issue we had with some other LLMs in the past are that they were very heavy, but DeepSeek seems to be lighter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I have a good machine here, but I can run in other machines, not so good as mine, and the performance is acceptable. Uh, of course,
For
you can use other smaller. I think you have 1.3 billion parameters for this gypsy coder. You can use
What
this
kind of
smaller.
oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, what kind
Go
of
ahead.
hardware are you on? Are you using
Yeah,
a 4090, or are you know, I guess that's the question
yeah,
with the hardware that you've got, that is going to dictate your experience heavily, and to get that kind of performance, I think even at that model level, um, actually at that level, it's probably not too bad. But
yeah,
I've done a lot with running local models, and I kind of know where the limitations are on my machine versus running off of like Open Router or something like that, which we can talk about later. I just wanted to know
yeah.
what are
Okay.
you running on?
Yeah, I have an Alienware, and my GPU is an RTX 3070 Ti. So with 8 GB RAM, so it's a good hardware. But
And those are
uh,
good. Those
yeah,
cards are actually good. So anyone out there that says I have to have a 4090 or go home, if you can get yourself a 3090 or something like that, you could really do some very cool work within there. They're still fast. It's just you get more RAM and a little bit more you get more power with the 4090. But if you look at the difference between the 4090 and the 5090, there are they're actually saying that it's not like a stratosphere type upgrade. It basically you're paying more money for it than you would have a 4090, and that's you kind of getting the value for what you're paying for. It's not like a major leap. And so I would say that if you can get a hold of anything like a 3090 or something in that realm, you're going to do well with that at the models that you're running. This is great. I
nice.
hadn't seen a 3090 yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you have a motivation to buy a gamer computer,
Yeah,
gamer PC. So you can know I need to
yeah.
work with this gamer PC, right? You can say that.
Let
I
me
just haven't
show.
found.
You can say that to the wife.
you have
Yeah,
an
no. I
excuse.
haven't. I've tried that with like, hey, can I buy this machine? It's got like dual 4090s in it, and I need about 5,000 US dollars. And she's like, no.
Oh, but you said,
Like
but
it's for
it's for
work, and
work.
she's like, no.
And
Yeah,
my main question would be for who is just looking for not for those that are testing with a lot of LLMs, but for those that wants to have an assistance on coding. If that is not better to sign up for GitHub Copilot or any
Yeah.
other paid service. I believe it will
yeah,
be much cheaper than buying a powerful machine to run LLMs locally, right?
You are right.
yeah,
That's a lot of tokens. It's a lot of tokens. $5,000 could buy a lot of tokens, and
yeah,
you'll
Yeah.
never use them all in a year. And so, no, I have put a lot of consideration into that. There is just something, and I think you can, if you go off and like ask everyone, there is something to being able to say that it runs on my machine. Although I'm starting to release that energy a little bit more and more. Like I don't have to have it on my machine. I don't think that I want to be responsible for dual 4090s running on my electrical system here. Like
yeah,
there is just a point of ridiculousness that you get to where you're like, hey, if it breaks, I'll just use a different service. But there is something to having your own local GPUs. But um, yeah, and not paying per token, but you do pay. Actually, you do pay. No matter what you do, you're paying
yeah.
electricity and video cards, or you're paying your tokens to the providers.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
of
believe
course.
that if you're running something that would be uncensored, uh, image or something, that's interesting to run it locally because probably we will not find that in a service, right? In a cloud service. But if you're just using that as a code completion or a helper for programming, most of the service will do the work, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that when we compare, for example, Copilot is $10 a month,
Yeah,
and Cursor is $20 a month. Klein, you can like pay as you go. So, and it's probably if you're going to buy the hardware just for that, I don't think it's worth it. But
yeah.
uh, yeah,
But if you
it's
are
hard.
a
It's hard.
gamer,
If you're a gamer,
Yeah,
you can think.
yeah, you already have it. You can play with it. You just play with what you have.
that's my case.
I've
And
Yeah,
yeah, and what motivates me is that my company doesn't allow using like GitHub Copilot yet, and I wanted to show them running locally that I can do stuff like that, and then maybe they allow me in the future.
yeah, that's
Then we
great.
buy some
And,
tokens.
and you can also create your own server, right? So you can use that, use maybe a powerful machine or more than one, and do this kind of thing, and then everyone in your team or maybe in your company, depending on the size, can use this kind of thing that you
Yeah, for
have.
compliance reasons, right? That if they don't want to allow to query it on a public service.
Yeah.
This is interesting
Louis,
because sorry,
no, go on, Pedro. Pedro.
yeah, maybe I had
Pedro's
a glitch
okay.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, back. Okay, well, what I'm saying is we are talking about AI augmented developer, right? So,
absolutely.
it some companies are still not allowing the developers to use AI. You know,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
like this example, it's it's something that it's going against the wave. We now as developers we are seeing the how great these models start can be at development and how we can be much more productive using them, you know. So there is no, and of course all the problems with you cannot use my code to to improve your LLMs, right? All this kind of stuff. Okay, you have now all subscriptions that make this compliance for you. So there are banks using it. There are lots like big companies using it. This is not a problem anymore, right? It was the beginning, but it's not anymore, you know. And it's pretty cheap. So paying like $20 per user to use a cursor per developer for user because it will make your company like get much more productive like overnight. Of course it's not overnight because the developers need to get used to the tooling, right? I think that's the thing about a augmented developer. AI don't do the work for you completely. That's it's not happening. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it's not happening today, right? What the AI is doing is helping you a lot doing your work. So but you need to learn how to use the tool, and it's the tools are different. Okay, we're talking about different tools here. It's not the same, right? If you use Copilot, learn how to use Copilot. If you use Cursor, learn how to use Cursor. Cursor has lots of big stuff that I still don't know how to use yet, like all these project details, cursor roles, and automations. Different than Copilot. Copilot doesn't have this kind of tools, but I will show Copilot today here for you, right? and Klein has all this creation from the scratch, and there is other, of course, but I'm talking just the three most most used ones. At least for now, I don't know how it's going to be tomorrow, but
Yeah,
as developers, we need to get one or two of these tools and master it, and then
absolutely.
you can call yourself as an augmented developer.
Yeah, I've heard of something. I don't know if that was on the US or where it was, that they were doing a big layoff of developers
Hmm.
and opening positions at the same time, but the positions were for developers that knows how to use AI tools. So they're firing people that has no idea of AI, and they want people that knows about that. I'm not in favor of that. You just need
Hmm.
to understand if your developers want to learn about that path, or if they already know about that path. Probably if they are watching this kind of show, they are interested in this subject, they will be around playing with that. I do play with GitHub Copilot that you will be showing in a minute. Pedro, I do like it a lot, especially now that they have allowed us to use different models. You can change it. There's a lot of different behaviors, and you can get a lot for $10. Of course, it's not as expensive as Chat GPT. That is a little bit more expensive, but for $10, 10 US dollars, of course. If you're in Brazil, it's a little bit expensive, but that's the price to pay. So
Yeah, that's the price to
You're
pay.
right. I just went and looked that up because I was trying to remember which company was doing that because it did ring a bell. But it looks like that Salesforce was the one that you might be referring to as far as a company that was saying that we're going to lay off people and then hire people that are that can help us with AI platforms and stuff like that. That does look like something that may have happened. So yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of people have to think about, which is that they've been saying it from the beginning, which is that you probably, AI isn't going to is going to replace developers, but it's the developers that are using AI. Not AI isn't going to replace developers. It's the developers that know how to use AI that are going to replace developers. Also, let me add one more thing here, because here's the part where I see things going, and that is that as far as being able to magnify our ability to develop, there's also this idea that I've had for a while, ever since ChatGPT was made public, was that basically we would have the ability to do what a team of 10 developers would do on our own. So we in essence could come up with products that would solve problems that we're having and be able to get them out to market, run them in production, and do this without having to have a whole team of people around us to do that, which means that we could actually become the generation of of revenue, as opposed to being something that we're an expenditure, that people are spending money on us. And that's something that's still rolling around in my head as to how we help people transition into that, because that is
Hmm.
that may be kind of where we would have to go if AI did kind of replace a lot of developers, which is that we would have to go and then use AI to then make something and sell it and have AI to even help us sell it. That would be the thing where I could see it going if it ever went in that direction completely. But in the end, AI is going to augment us as to who you are and the things that you are trying to do.
Hmm.
And that's the thing to keep in mind. It's like a calculator. What we learned in school, or what we learned as well, I learned software development as a kid, but what we learned by actually writing these lines of code, is how to do our math by hand. We learned how to tell the computer what to do by hand. The cool thing now is that ever since ChatGPT got released to the public, we started to see a calculator for writing code developed. And so now we can take our thinking at a more abstract level and put that out there for the AI to actually then create the code for us based on our thoughts, which are based on experience that we've had in writing code and how systems should be put together. I think it's a really powerful magnifier, and I see it going very far.
That's great. I totally agree with that. Pedro, you want to start showing that to us?
Yeah, I can. Let's show
Great.
you what do we have here. Well, I have here a copilot. This is a VS Code Insiders, okay? I'm using an experimental version of Copilot here. Copilot, it's important to discuss because we are talking about levels here. Uh, I can say that we have now like different levels of software engineers in terms of AI. We have a software engineer that doesn't use AI at all, right? We have software engineers that knows how to use AI to improve their job. So we are talking here, uh, our AI augmented developer, and we have like software engineers that are learning how to be an AI engineer. So they are transitioning to an AI engineer role that needs lots and lots of study, math, theory, and even academy, even degree. You can go like try a master degree or PhD on this in the field. And of course, we have guys that are coming from the data scientist field or the machine the AI academic field that are become AI engineer but much more AI researchers. Okay, so we have like different levels here. For me, for example, I'm not guy who will going to start a PhD in AI now. Okay, so this is my choice. If you are like in this moment of your career, you can go and try because PhD in AI is a good thing to do today, right? But in not my case. So I'm going to this part here, that is the software engineer that uses AI to be augmented, right? And this thing we can get using this kind of tools, and these tools have like some levels as well. If you look at here in my, we have the chat tab. If you are in the chat tab, you can ask anything about code to Copilot, and you of course you can have a chat, and Copilot can go and show some code for you and etc. Right? But this is pretty much like ChatGPT. It goes shows a code you need to copy and paste, and if you're using ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any other, it will be the same, right? But the best of these tools is in this kind of tab here. In Copilot, it's called Copilot Edit, but in Corsa, for example, it's called Composer, right? Where the this guy can write the code, like create new files, execute stuff, So this is the best place here. And in normally in the normal code currently we have this edit here that can say, okay, I you ask me something, I will edit the code, and then you need to approve the addition that I did. Okay, every change you need to approve, every change you need to approve or not, and then you say no, change that, change this, and change that, right? Every change. But now Copilot is adding this agent mode, right? That is even further in terms of automation in this for this kind of tool. What I'm saying here, it can like create the files, create the code, is it create tests, run tests, right? And get the result of the tests, and then change the code again to, okay, this test the tests are having some errors, I need to fix it. It can do that iteratively by its own, right? This is what this agent in Copilot did can do. Cursor Composer can do that, and Klein, you can go if when we have a Klein presentation here. I think it's Yogo going to present that, can present that for us. Klein can do that as well. right? Client can even go further in this case. So let's try one thing, like create a snake game in Python using Pygame. Okay,
Hey,
I'm so sorry. Go
Pedro,
ahead.
do we have any plugin like that on IntelliJ? Because the official GitHub Copilot plugin for IntelliJ is very outdated. You
Yes.
know?
No, no, we don't have for IntelliJ yet.
Okay, so
And
that.
this especially only in VS Code Insiders.
Mm,
So this is
okay.
experimental one. But I'm using in my day-to-day basis here. So
Oh, that's creating the game. Look at that.
yeah, yeah, it's just created a game here. And then it created a code, and now it says, okay, let me check if there is any errors. It says, okay, no problems found. It say, okay, let's run to install Pygame here. And every time it wants to run something in a terminal, it asks me for before, so I can say, okay, go ahead. I know that I already have that, and you will gonna see it. It receives and say, okay, I see Pygame is already installed, so let's run the game. But let's see here. But it's working. Let's see if it's finished. Yeah, it's finished. All right, cool. To work it, it says, yeah, it's successful. But this is where the thing, the most of the influencers go and finish, right? It's go one way, one shot and finish. It's not what you're gonna do in your day to day work, right? You need to make its code like in a way that you can push a PR, like production ready code, right? You need to check the code. You need to create tests for it, right? So let's do the same. It's create some classes here: class game, class snake, class what another class direction. Cool. I'll say okay. Now create a unit test file. Uh, test is snake.py using the unit test library because I don't want this to use PyTest, for example, just my choice, right? This is something that you need to do for your repo, right? You need to choose the correct libraries. Sometimes it just see the library here. Yeah, using the unit test clip and to now create unit test set and create tests for the snake and game classes. Run after created it, run the tests and fix any errors found. You see,
Have you
so
tried, Pedro?
But
yeah,
but I don't know. Pedro, I have a question for you while
sure.
it's running. Okay, this is very good, and we can see the power of doing maybe like Douglas said. If you want to start something new, if you want to create something, and you need, for example, instead of having a team, you can use Copilot, and this will increase a lot your productivity. But how about in your daily activities? Let's say that you have a project with I don't know, 200 files, how it
Mhm.
works. So, do in your opinion, because you said that you're using, do you think these increase a lot your productivity, or sometimes how does that work for you?
Yeah, it will help me. It helps me a lot. So that's why I say that you need to know how to use the tool, right? When you are in something like this that it has like just a small number of of files or lines of code, you don't need to worry much, not too much, right? But as you can see, it's using two files here, right? It's using two files. So in this case, it's changing one file. You can see the change. It's creating another file here, like the test file, right? And it starts running. As you can see, it there is some errors in the tests, and then this guy starts checking what's happening. This is very interesting. For example, if you have a, in my case, my today's case, I had a change that I need to do in my code. I did the change, and I said, yeah, these tests here needs to be changed because of my change. This test file. So you need to put it. Okay, these specific test file, I need to change because of my change in that other class. So I need to put these two class using these add files here. You see, when you click in add files, you can put the one file you want, or you can put like the terminal last command, for example. This is very useful because in my case, to run my test, I need to run a CLI that is specific to the company. And then when we run the CLI, we see the results in the terminal, right? So I can say to the agent, say, to run the test, use this command in the terminal here, run this command, see the results, and continue. You see? So I put the command there so he can check the results. And then it starts iterating because it knows how to run the command, right? It runs and then it gets the last command here. But it this guy in the agent mode, this guy does that automatically. In non-agent mode, you need to do that yourself. You need to run the test, and then you mark the terminal last command to get the results, and then you can continue to say, okay, the last command in the terminal has the errors, you need to fix it, please fix it, and then it goes and fix it. So that's the uh, uh, when you start understanding your tool here. But there people say, Pedro, we have code base there. Are you see the second guy, code base? We have that in cursor as well. But when you put code base there, it says, okay, you can look all my code base and try to find where you need to change anything or what's going on. But in big code bases, it doesn't work very well. It works okay. I tried that for in smaller code bases, but in my case, I had like hundreds of files, the hundreds of thousand lines of code, so it didn't work well. Uh, of course, depends on the LLM you're using. In this case, I always using the Sonnet. Sonnet is one of the best
Yeah,
for to use
agree.
in this case, right? So let's continue here. I will call this guy again. It ran it. It says okay. One failure now. Something
It's very
changing.
interesting to see how it edits the file, right? It's test and then it tries to go through the file, editing it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see,
He
it's
just
saying,
did it.
okay, the score test increased now passing, but we still have an issue with wall collision. And then it changed it as something there. I didn't see what it changed. Let's see. Yeah, it didn't work. This is something that start happening, right? That's why I say these guys, we need to know how to use these guys, right? For example, this case here, it says, okay, it didn't pass. And then it can happen like two, three times. It tries to do, oh, you can see it start getting into a loop, you know? And then that the moment to say, okay, stop. And let's give it the last try, and then I put a stop here. It If it didn't work, yeah, it didn't work. Let me put a stop, right? And then I can say, okay, and then that's why I need to know what's going on. And I need to go, okay, I need to find this test here. Let's see what's going on. It says that the check collision. should be false, but it's true. Something not correct in this check collision. I'm I don't know exactly what's happening. Let's say I fix it. Not here. I will not fix it, but I'm not. I don't want to debug it. Oops. I will mark as keep. Okay. I'll say I accept it. That I will fix it. This guy. I will remove this guy. So why I can't remove it?
Read mode.
Yeah, read only for some reason. I don't know. I would say okay. I fixed the test. I remove the test and fix it. I fix the test. Please continue. So sometimes you can do that. You can go and stop it and you organize it. You can just say to him, okay, change this and that, right? I didn't like this, I didn't like that. You need to go and change it. Good, it worked, right? So for example, this is one thing. I i created new things, but I can like ask to change things, you know after I have some tests, I can ask to change, to add new things, and test it again and create new tests. That's what we do in our day to day work. We need to write code, we need to write tests, we need to push to the production, and everything needs to work. And then we need to check if everything working. If it's a getting in errors, you come back here, you check the code, you create new things on top of it, right? So every time it's important to understand that you can it's your code. So as much context you can give to the tool, better it's gonna help you, right? So if I know which files I want it to check, you say it. You go and mark here. You add that as a file, you know. And
Uh,
I tried the for my test. I tried the code, the 3.5, the GPT-4, and O3. O3 is really slow for a day-to-day usage. I don't like it using it too much, and it stops working for I don't know why. GPT-4 is less smart than the 3.5 Sonnet. So to make it work, we need to be better at prompting. You need to
I
be more
noticed that too,
specific.
Pedro. I switched for Sonnet because of that.
Yeah, you need to be more specific to work with Code 4.0. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop here uh, because we don't have much time. But that's the idea. It's better. You need to go understand your tool, improve your usage, see what's better for you. How I love this agent stuff because there are some parts that it can do like the some boring job that you don't want to do. I'm doing like good refactorings that I never did in my code base because they are so boring to do. And then I say, okay, let's do the refactoring here. Change this, and it goes and changes. in
That's
lots
really
of files.
helpful. I don't know how it will behave for the new generation of developers when this will not be preview anymore.
Uh-huh.
If they will become lazy on searching on the code for issues, I believe that will happen. So the ones that gains the abilities to dig into your code and find what the agents were not capable, these are the ones that will stand out. I believe that you need to use that in your favor, but not be dependable of that. That's what I think. And I do love using AI as a helper. That helps a lot. I've been using that not specifically for solving issues. Sometimes I try it. If it gives me a crazy answer that's not helpful, I try to understand that. So I started to ask AI, hey AI, what's this property of this framework for? And then it gives me the explanation, and then I start to understand the depths of that, especially when you're doing dealing with an unknown framework or a different language that you're not used yet, to help you to
For sure.
understand the things, then you get it solved as well. But seeing that agent editing file, that's crazy. That's very crazy. I believe, like you mentioned, Pedro, that will be very helpful for refactorings and
It
to
is.
update code.
And how about fixing bugs? Have you tried, Pedro? Maybe
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
stack trace and only give the stack trace with maybe some context. How's the percentage of accuracy to have to fix the bug and not give a wrong and hallucinations and wrong answers? Have you
Yeah,
tried something like that too?
it it gives as much hallucinations as less context you give to it.
Mm.
But for example, let's say that I am having
That's the issue.
the easiest one. I am having a no pointer exception in Java. I know that you are not working with Java
Mhm,
nowadays, but thinking a very easy issue that like probably a junior can solve it,
mhm.
not having uh, not
Let's
being
try.
hard to
Let's.
solve, a easy one. So
Uh-huh.
is this
And
uh,
I had a, like a stack
agent
trace,
able
right?
to do that? Yes, you have the
Uh-huh.
stack trace, you have the error, you have the class, you have the stack trace. So
Mhm.
how does the agent works? Does it work very
Uh,
well and know how to solve that and solve it correctly, or sometimes not?
not in one shot. That's the point. This never works in one shot, right?
Okay.
So it's the best way to I find working with these things is you to be the orchestrator, right? Okay, I don't know where this error can be, and I don't want to read all that big error thing. I can let put here, take a look at this error, and suggest some plan for me for fixing this, and then it go. You can just put the code base, right? And then it finds correctly the things, and then you can read the stuff what he's talking, you that's the moment when I mostly go to chat, because I want it just to show some ideas. Yeah, give me some ideas about the thing, and then it shows okay. Because if I do this here, it finds the stuff and it starts changing.
Okay,
And I think,
and are you
sometimes
able?
you don't want to do that.
Yes, and are you able to say, let's say, for example, chant only this file or
Yeah,
no? It
yeah,
okay, so
I
it
can.
works. Okay, so you can choose
Some
the file that it can chant.
I had I had a problem one time that is I was having an error in a test, and I say okay, fix it, and it just go to the file and change the code to pass it to the test. And I say no, stop. I undo the change, and I say no, stop. uh, just fix the test code. Just fix this file. Don't change the file. The file is correct. The code is correct. Okay, and then it goes change the test and to work. I have done the opposite as well. I say, oh, the test was not passing, right? There was an error. The compiler started getting a loop, right? And I stop. Okay, stop. I will fix this. And I went to the test and organized the behavior the way I wanted, right? I'll say, okay. And then I said to Copilot, now, Copilot, this test now is correct. Go to the file and fix the behavior to pass the test. And then it starts looping there like 2 or 3 times, and it worked.
Okay, great.
See,
So
so
maybe having a
this is
unit testing and use these kind of agents to create a very well test, define the test very well, Maybe you can use the idea of TD or something like that,
Exactly.
using this agent to
Yeah.
help us. Good idea.
I created an iterative loop based on testing TDD, right? It's not a pure TDD, we know, but based on TDD, the same idea, what that you can have tests that cover the code you want and the test the behavior you want of the code, and but it's not complete TDD because you don't have tests first, right? So a small portion of the time you have tests first. For in this case, for example, I had the test first. Right? It was a bug. I can tell the story because it was an actual bug. The actual bug was it was a bad behavior. We created a test to say, man, use this test here. This is the correct behavior, and the test not passing. Make the test pass. Like change the code, not the test, please. And then they changed the code, re-executed a bunch of times.
Using
So
this agent feature, right? So
yeah,
use
using
the
this
agent.
face is this one here
Yeah. If I
in
want to
Copilot.
get the same version, what do I need to do, Pedro? This insider version.
You need to go and download the insiders, the VS Code
It's
insider.
open to public.
Yeah, you can go on Microsoft and download it.
Okay. Sometimes
And
I consider
it
to.
updates itself.
Oh, good. Sometimes I consider getting doing the Java environment since I work with Java in both IntelliJ and VS Code, so I can play with these tools as well because they tend to be much more updated on VS Code instead of on IntelliJ. But Douglas shared here with us that the IntelliJ plugin has got got an update as well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure how much they have updated it, but I'll give it a try as well.
Well, they
Which
just
is
did
this
it though.
plugin?
It was like the 19th of February is when the last updates dropped on it. So it looks like that they have updated it relatively recently, and if you haven't used it in a while, you should probably try to go use it
Mhm.
and see how it works. You know, I actually have some thoughts that I gathered while everyone was talking, and I think that one thing is that we kind of are transitioning to this realm of being able to just talk to the IDE. I say this because um, in Cursor, it's really good. Like Cursor, I have Cursor. I have Cursor. I had Copilot at one time. I'm going to try Copilot again, but Cursor with Sonnet 3.7, like zero shot that snake game. Like it was, I said, make me snake, and it said, here's you snake, and it was like score and everything. I mean, it was a perfect rendition of Snake. But I almost think that they overfit now for Snake. Like it's everyone tries to get it to do Snake. But that video that I just posted and we could post it out to the world. But that video I just posted was from an AI commentator that does a lot on what's going on in the AI world. And he pointed out something I've been seeing this word pop up everywhere called vibe coding. And it literally is, and he'll explain it in the video, but it literally is that you restrict yourself. You're just going to talk in the box. They're even using this thing called Super Whisper to translate your voice into text. It does a really good job of this. And everything is you just tell it like, hey, move the box 10 pixels over to the left. You tell it to do it. You don't actually do it with your hands yourself. And so he actually had a demo on there that blew my mind a little bit, where he created a snake game that was AI controlled, two snakes competing with each other, trying to get more food. And I mean, he did all of this like vibe coding, just telling it, hey, I want you to do this, and it was like, yes, I will do this, and it did it, and it was pretty spectacular. So I think that that's at least for weekend projects, it's going to be great. Like I could see vibe coding working really well for a weekend project. But I could actually see a time where you get that cursor rules right, Pedro. You know, the cursor rules and cursor, and you tell it how exactly it's supposed to code, and what the project is, and you know, you put the PRD in there and all that stuff, and man, I think vibe coding is right around the corner for some really advanced topics that we, you know, for some really advanced scenarios that are coming, because 3.7 is fire. Like Sonnet 3.7 just dropped a couple of days ago, and it is just absolutely off the charts for
Yeah,
my
I
own
saw some
usage.
videos about. Yeah, I saw some videos about
Yeah,
3.7, and the guys are getting crazy about it. And so, and I
yeah,
can
it's
imagine
nuts.
like using a key 3.5, like in the way you're using 3.5 here, or even using cursor. There is one thing in cursor that is different here. Cursor is understanding that it's not only the LLM that you need to be get a better one. You have to put the tooling on top of it, right? So
Yeah,
Cursor has a much better tooling than Copilot has today, right? In terms of code base in search, you know. We know that we can't put the entire code base to the LLM. We know that, everybody knows
the
that. So
context
the
goes to
tooling,
like 130 tokens. Yeah, full context. All your code base can go in there.
it depends on the LLM for sure, right? And
Yeah,
depends on the code
yeah, yeah,
base.
yeah.
If you have like a huge a huge monolith, you you would not be able to do that for sure. But
I've seen,
microservices
yeah,
will all microservices will be, you can put in that context and put there, right? But most of the
yeah.
big codes you can. So the Corso has this tooling to search code. They are very good at it. And I think you have saw this here in say searching code base. Corso is very good, so it can go and find, and it has index, so the search is really fast. You don't wait a lot. So and Corso, all these Corso rules, there are people here in the company. They are thinking about creating Corso rules for each repo, for example, that
Can
you
I
could
can I tell you a secret? Can I
share
tell
to
you a secret?
everybody. It would be cool.
You could use AI to generate your cursor rules. If you go find like a cursor rules that's close, there's a cursor dot directory. I think that's the website name, is cursor dot directory, which has got a bunch of cursor rules in there. If you find something close and you go, hey, this is absolutely what I need, except we do it this way and that way, it will go through and replace. It'll go through and do a it'll go through and create you a new cursor rules. Also, hey, I actually had Claude 3.7 create me a cursor rules for a project I'm starting up, and it did a really good job of it. It did. We got it down to the stack and everything. It did the whole just talking to me, just having a chat with me about, hey, what is it you're trying to do? And I told it. I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking about. So we don't even have to have a person on the team thinking about it unless they're actually using AI to help think about it, because that's, the magic of what these LLMs do, y'all. As programmers, we keep so many things in our brain, like multidimensionally. We got to think about all these different things at once, and we only have one body, like to manifest it onto the actual screen, right? To actually manifest that code out there. And so what it does, you can just sit and like throw every off the wall thought you have about what you want to do to it, and then it could take your multidimensional thinking and put it into something that makes sense to computers and everybody else. It's really it's really cool when you think of it like doing that. I'm actually working on a product right now where I am trying to help like people that have that issue, where if you ever find that you're talking about stuff and people just cut you off, like, and respond to what you said before you fully get everything out, they're not they're thinking literally, and not like in this major way. And I'm trying to make something that can actually help people by put all their stuff in there, and they figure out how to go say it to other people, just like the LLMs will figure out how to put your code down in a way a computer can take it and understand it, instead of all your thoughts floating around out there. But yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And just to mention for our audience, if you don't know what the cursor is an assistant like the GitHub Copilot we were mentioning, like the Chat GPT. I didn't know about that as well, but I could take a look here on their website. You do have a free tier, and there's also some plugins that you can use with VS Code, official ones with IntelliJ as well. So, since you guys mentioned this is so powerful and even better than Copilot, I will give it a try. It's a little bit more expensive on the paid one, but give it a try on the free tier. GitHub Copilot now also has a free tier. It was only paid in the past, but I believe that's the goal for becoming an AI augmented developer. You need to play around with these tools, knowing that they exist and how to put those to work to you, to help you be more performatic, to get rid of problems, because everyone that is a developer, guys, that we work and there you develop something, and mm, except some special case, most of the times it will not work smoothly at first attempt. There will be always some things that changes from one version to another, or something that needs to be addressed, and these tools can help you figure out, oh, what's going on. Especially we talked about upgrading versions some sessions ago. What's happening here? This was working on the previous service. That's these tools will help you to figure out if this has changed from the version to another, if you're missing something in your code. And I do really loved that idea that Pedro showed us with the agents here to help us build unit testing. Unit testing can sometimes be very, I would say, boring or a lot of work. But as Tiago always mentioned, tests are essential to keep the integrity of the application, to keep it all working. So I do really like a lot of having these to work to us and to help us to improve as the developers. And that's what my thoughts about this subject, guys. And what do you guys wanted to comment about that on your final thoughts as well?
Okay, I think I
Did I miss
can
something?
start.
Oh, sorry, my brain went somewhere else, and it's like everything paused. So, Pedro, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do a final round here. We are about our time, right? Yeah,
Yes.
what I can say here with AI augmented developer is you as a better developer using AI, even asking AI to write code or even to learn from AI or even learn how to use the tools. For all these things, you will still need to learn. You still need to study. So this this is our lives, guys. We're not. We always have to study in our developer career. So that's what we will get from us. We will have to learn AI. In our case, in this case, how to use AI to help us our work. That's the thing here, at least for now. But let's continue. This will be awesome.
Yes, I can continue. So I learned a lot today, the new things, and I'm eager to try it out. What I heard, new things, and I think the idea is if you want to become and stay an AI augmented developer, that you have to improve yourself regularly and check regularly what's new, trying different tools, maybe working with one or two tools parallelly, so that you can compare it, and it's changing so fast that you need to check it regularly and adjust yourself to be better. So that's my idea.
Okay. For me, I really loved when Pedro said that you can choose a tool and specialize in it, but you can start simpler. You don't need to start using agents. Like for me, using the IntelliJ's built-in code completion, the free one, is helping me saving like 10 or 15% of my time every day. So you can use simple tools, and this starts helping you a lot, and you then pass to more complex tools. Like I'm doing a lot of refactor, and sometimes I face complex codes, and those more complex codes I usually share with ChatGPT, and we start discussing about that code to find a better solution, like to rewrite that code. I really like to do this kind of discussions and 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 talk with the tool for me to understand what I'm doing, what that code is doing. So you can start using these tools in different ways, and then you specialize in some other tools like the agent that Pedro showed us. That's it for me.
That's it, guys. I totally agree. If you're starting with that, choose a tool. I've choose Copilot for now. Uh, I use the context sometimes. I use the chat a lot, as I mentioned before, to understand things, to solve things, to sometimes not giving a lot of context, but just enough context. And let's see how that evolves. But what we need to do is to know how to use these tools, at least getting started on them, and how these can help us to move faster in your daily activities. That's my closing for that.
Yeah, I'd like to thanks everyone here to share all this stuff because, as Sheila said, AI is evolving a lot and very fast, and it's very hard to keep updated with these kind of things. And like everyone here said, it's very important for everyone, every developer, to learn how to code with AI and having all this new stuff and how to use this new stuff. It's very important. So thank you all here. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Luis, and also Douglas. And I hope we see you more often here, Douglas. It's great to have you here. And I pass the word to you. Your final words.
Alrighty. So basically, I think that what we're seeing here is this idea of AI not only can augment, yourself, right? If you ever sat and talked to a context for a long time, you're going to start seeing yourself a little bit in it. But also that AI can augment us as software engineers, as developers. And um to me it's amazing, right? So if you look at Cursor, I'm in the Cursor camp, but I've tried them all. Like I said, I did try Copilot, but it was when it first came out. I've tried Klein, I've tried a good number of them, but the most success that I've had was using Cursor. Now there is one we didn't mention, that was Windsurf. We didn't mention that one, but it's out there too, and I gave it a chance and it didn't do well for me, and so I know they've updated it and I just haven't gone back to look at it yet. But what I see is that there's just this whole new world of how we're going to use AI to augment all of the different kinds of skills that we've got. And especially I think in software engineering, if we use languages that it understands, like I think Java is a really expressive language in the sense of you can list everything out that it needs to do, right? There's no like secret stuff going underneath the covers. You've got all your getters and setters, and everything is just there. And an AI is going to love that because it can just, you know, do everything it needs and show its work, and you can see it and see all the work too. So I think that in the realm of the Java side of things, it's actually really cool to use it in a language that has types in it, you know, that has like strong typing in it, like and static typing. Let me be like that, yeah, like Java. So yeah, I can't see where I can't wait to see where this goes, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more conversations about this. And it's been great being here with y'all. I've missed it, and I'm gonna try to be back for more of these. Thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. We missed you too, Douglas. So thank you all guys for being here, creating the show. Thanks for you that are watching us here. I believe this has been a great session to get you started, and even for those that already use AI, to see the evolving of that with these agents, and how you can run those locally as well. When Luis and Pedro showed us, I really liked it. And just make usage for that for yourself to become an AI augmented developer and stand out. You will perform much more. We cannot just say I'm a root developer, I don't want to evolve. You will be out of the market soon if you think like that. You need to evolve with the technology. And that's all, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight or this afternoon, whatever you are, and see you in the next session of the Out of the Box Developer. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
well.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you, guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Hi, y'all.
Bye.
Been great.